Hello, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Charisse Joy. She is a certified Reiki master teacher and life coach with over a decade of experience dedicated to guiding us on our journey of emotional healing and spiritual growth. So this is my brief introduction to Charisse, but there was a lot more about her. So the full bio will be at the end of this video. For the beginning of our conversation, from the get-go, I always ask the same question. You're probably familiar with, and we talked off records too. So how would you describe yourself? How would you introduce yourself as of this moment, Charisse? Who are you?
Who am I as of this moment? You know, it is a question that I love to ask. It is a question I've asked myself all my life, and it can be answered in so many ways. But I would say as of this moment, I would say I'm unfolding. It's as if through this unfolding feeling that the deeper part of me that I resonate with as to who I really am is allowed to flow through me and express through me. So that feels much deeper than my body, my mind, my thoughts and emotions. It feels more like expansion and unconditional love and joy. And I even wonder, did I come into this world sometimes with the surname Joy, just to remind me that, you know, in a word, I am joy, because I have forgotten in the past, and it's been a journey to remember that who I really am.
Right. Yes, it's so true. It feels that way, like it is a remembrance, a remembering journey. It does feel that way. And I wonder, why do we forget in the first place? Is that something that's already part of the design, or it just happens because we are here in this human experience and it's not as easy as we thought it was?
Yeah, I think it's probably different for everybody, but there's a lot of things that can help us sort of drift away from who we really are. And it's a lot of like society's conditioning and the way we're brought up and experiences that happen to us. For me personally, my own drifting apart happened back in childhood, and I can sort of, looking back on it, see the moment that it happened. And it was because of a childhood trauma. And in that moment, I became overwhelmed and so confused. I didn't know how to process what had happened to me in this event. And I ended up blaming myself for it. I thought I had caused it. And I think a lot of people end up doing this when they've had an experience like that. When we can't understand it, we blame ourselves. We think we've caused it. And it's at that moment that I think I began to identify more with the trauma and with the guilt and the shame. I really believed that that's who I was. And that was the split from, for me, from who I really was. But then I've had this calling ever since, this sort of unrelenting feeling, question, who am I? So I have always been on this journey to find out who I really am and to be called back to remembering who I really am.
Yes. Wow, what's not to love about that? You know, that sincere curiosity about what and who we are. Do you remember when you asked yourself that question for the first time and what the answer was? I'm wondering.
Well, I have asked, I can't remember the first time. I would imagine that it began at that time when I began to identify more with the trauma than who I really was. And that the more I grew up and the more I identified with other things, and the split became larger, I guess,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think the question got louder. So I have searched and searched and searched. Like many people, I began looking outside of myself for answers, looking in my job, looking in my role as a mother or as a daughter. And it wasn't really until I went within. And for me, that was through the practice of Reiki, to go deep within with some meditation. And that really, really introduced me back into who I really am. So
Yeah.
it has been like a lifelong exploration. And I still believe that there's probably more to uncover there as well. So I feel like I have such a strong sense of self now, but I'm sure there is more, like I say, to unfold.
Yes. Yes. I love the way you said that in the very beginning, Charisse. You said unfolding. In this very moment, I feel like it's still unfolding who I am. And that kind of makes me think about flowers a lot. I love flowers. I love the sacred geometry, the flower of life. If you look in nature, you see that everything looks that way, like they are unfolding. Even when they are unfolded, it's still looking like they are unfolding, that they are still somehow passing on something, trying to tell us something. That's why a lot of people, all of us pretty much, feel really good around nature, flowers, nature, because they don't, it doesn't feel like they are done, although they have already done the unfolding. Even when they die, there's something about them. I'm always observing like flowers. I always have fresh flowers in my house, and I always see that. I contemplate the short lifespan, the beauty that it's so natural to them that they are not really trying. They just they simply are. And I wonder what happened to us human beings, that we seem like we, in a way, we didn't stop the process of unfolding, but it seems like we are not connected to it. Do you feel the same way, that we are somehow disconnected from this unfolding? We are trying too hard to be
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think that a lot of us have forgotten, and we are much more about trying to do something rather than just allowing what is to be and just being. So, yeah, I do think that.
Yes, right. The doing, although it's not apart from the being, of course, right? I
Well,
mean, yeah, we can't really not do anything. It's impossible to stay still for too long. But I would love to hear more about Reiki. For those who don't know, what is Reiki? And I never heard about Reiki meditation. That's, yeah, for the first time I heard this through you.
well, Reiki is a Japanese spiritual practice, and the word Reiki just really could be simplified to mean spiritual energy. And it's the energy of the universe, so it's in everyone, everything. And it's really about learning Reiki as a spiritual practice to improve your heart, mind, and body. That's sort of the purpose
Mm,
of Reiki.
yeah.
So a lot of people are familiar with it as a hands-on healing method, but it really is much more than that for the practitioner. So there is sort of all these beautiful parts of the system that you learn, including meditation, that help you to become more true to yourself, more in touch with who you really are, and just improving your daily life as on a human level as well. So I have found it to be just so life changing and transformational in a really
Mm,
gentle way.
yeah.
And I think it helps a lot of people in ways that were unexpected, because you might be coming thinking that you want to have healing for a specific issue, and then you find that once you've connected in with that energy, the energy of who you really are,
Mm.
you you open up to much more possibilities. So it's beautiful.
It is, yeah. I have tried the Reiki hands-on. Yeah, they do. It's almost like you lay down and then they do with the hands. they talk to you too. Beth Franks, she was the one that I used to do sessions with in a different neighborhood. I mean, I felt immediately when I walked in that room. It's just, it felt like everything slowed down and was, time didn't exist. And it was very loving too. So the whole environment was amazing how the entire place felt that way, just walking around. Is that how you would describe this feeling of what we are, who we are? I would love for you to describe that in a more, if you can use words for it. Yes.
That's the tricky part, trying to find words for something that really is so unexplainable. Words don't really give it justice,
Right.
but we have
Right.
to try. So I would describe like who we really are as expansive, compassionate,
Yeah.
unconditionally loving, and joyful and curious and playful and just beyond time and space. And Reiki is that. So there is no difference between the energy of who I am and the energy of Reiki. Reiki is the energy of the universe. I am the universe. And I am that love. So that's how I would try to put it into words,
Mm.
for who I feel like I am at my core.
Mm. Yes. So how do you navigate like the day-to-day reality, things that you do? How do you integrate this knowledge, this realization into your day-to-day living? I can see that through the work that you're doing, but I wonder, like, meeting people who are not related to your work and people who are somehow difficult because they still don't know, they have not realized their own true self. So how do you relate to them? How do you dance with them per se?
I actually think that when you find that connection to who you really are, you do become more compassionate just
Mm,
naturally. It's
yeah.
sort of this, it arises naturally within you. When when I really did connect into who I really was, I had this sort of realization that even if the trauma had been my fault, that still wasn't who I was. I am and I always will be that
Mm,
beautiful unconditional love and expansion. That helped me to just find self-forgiveness for a start, but also to forgive other people and also to recognize that that light, that love exists in everyone. And they may also just be having a bad day or dealing with trauma or dealing with something. So I find that it just helps me be more compassionate because I found it within myself first. I think that's really important. I was able to
mm,
then extend it into other people and situations as well.
yes. So compassion, it's something that arises naturally. Yes, that has been my experience too. Is that what you call, people use different names like enlightenment, self-realization. There are different terms for it, awakening too. Is that all the same, or do you feel it's somehow different, what they call enlightenment, awakening, etc.?
I feel like awakening is more about that moment of clarity where
Yeah,
everything makes sense. And of course, it's that moment of clarity.
yeah.
And then what arises from that moment of clarity is that sense of compassion and that feeling you can carry with you wherever you go. You're changed after that experience. It's why it's enlightenment and awakening are terms to describe it, because you change from that moment on. You're different.
Right. So all of them, in a way, are the same when it comes to the external expression of that
Mm.
flavor of that perfume, right? It's the same in a way. So does it? I'm wondering if it goes away. A lot of people, they say that they had a glimpse of that, but then they don't know how to go back to it. Especially people who do psychedelics, and then they go really, they are able to see the interconnectedness of everything. That's just, there's no me really here, but there's just this dance of energies. But is that something that you have experienced? This going back and forth in the degree of which you connect with this, universal energy and express it.
I think that once you've had those really heightened experiences, a lot of people chase it. It feels
Yeah.
so good. And so people want more of it. And I think in the chasing, you're forgetting already the
Mm,
essence of the experience, which is it's who you are, and it's you can't chase it. It's in you all the time.
mm,
So I think when you can reconnect with meditation works for me, but there's other ways people can connect into who they are. Then the more you do it, if you can do it every day, just nothing grand, like perhaps no major visions and cool things happening, but just dipping my toes in every day, sitting in meditation.
right.
That is filling that bucket drip by drip to remembering and having perhaps another grand experience, perhaps. You just can't predict it.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think the issue, which is not an issue, is that it feels really good, and it feels like almost like this sense of harmony with body, mind, and spirit and soul. So that's the reason why we get almost like this urge to feel it again. But it's not a feeling. So well, from my understanding, it's not a feeling. It is knowledge, really. It is knowing, isn't it, Charisse? It feels like a knowledge type of thing. I don't know if I'm a student of Vedanta, and that's all about knowledge. So we always go back to knowing who you are. Is that how you see it too? Somehow, do you resonate with that?
I do agree. It is a deep, deep knowing, and it's beyond sort of
Mm,
descriptions. It is that deep knowing. And to me, I do feel it sort of in my body. And it does feel euphoric at times when you're having those beautiful visions or whatever it might be.
yeah.
But without my body, I know that I would still recognize the essence of all of that experience. Somehow, I just know it, like you say, that just knowing.
Right. So we don't need the body to recognize it. We don't need to make it into a bodily experience in order to know it, right? This
I
energy.
don't think so. Because it's not who we are at the core. At the core, we are that energy.
Right.
So we can feel it and we can use our senses to experience what that feels like with a human body, but we don't need the body to have that. It's who we are inside.
Yes. Gosh. Yes, a billion times to that open secret. Yes. I heard recently somebody said, we are not we're not human beings trying to be spiritual or struggling to be spiritual. We are spiritual beings struggling to be human. That kind of resonated with me because that seems like the real challenge, right, Charis, is to be human, fully human. And what would that mean? A lot of times I ask myself. For me, the answer is always doing something with this body mind that benefits this, of course, as the object of my awareness, and then my family, and then my community, and then humanity as a whole. Whatever I do, it has to have this principle of affecting everyone in a positive way. Is that how you see it too when it comes to the expression of body mind in this reality, or the purpose of the human experience?
I really resonate with that. And I don't know if it is the same for everyone,
Right.
but for me, it really is about allowing my true self to express through me in ways that are unique to me. I mean, having a body and being able to move it a certain way, being able to use my particular skills and strengths.
Mm.
And I feel really drawn to this because I want to help humanity. It is something, again, like a deep knowing inside of me that that's what I've got to do. That's what I'm here for. I've got to do something with my uniqueness that will help humanity. I feel like that's why I have a body, to express my soul that way.
Wow, I love that. I love that you're working with your clients and you welcome new clients who have been traumatized, have been through traumatic experiences, and has been my case too. What is the most challenging, let's say, part of that journey of returning to the true self when we have been traumatized?
The hardest part is remembering that we aren't that trauma. I think it's so easy to identify with it, and because we've had like a lifetime of patterning to forget, that it's really hard to let go of that idea that we could be something else, that we could be more loving than this, or more compassionate than that. It's a hard thing, but I think if we can intellectually begin to loosen the grip through understanding and therapies that will help you talk it out, and gain a bit of an understanding or a reasoning around what may happen, you can loosen the grip a little.
Yeah.
But to support it into like a full body knowing, that's where you really do have to do some kind of spiritual practice like meditation that will really connect you back into who you are. Because once you do that, that blows everything open, and you really do feel it, and you know it for certain that you are something much, much more than that.
Yes. Yeah. How do you see this? Let's say the concept is not really a concept, the experience of pain and suffering. Is that something that we have actually chosen? Some people say that the soul have chosen to be here, to learn some experiences and to go through these specific experiences so we could learn something about that. Do you resonate with this concept, this idea?
I don't think I do. I don't know whether we chose to experience these hardships along the way or not. Maybe they just happened along the way. What we can do is always choose how to respond to them and how we want them to impact our life. We always have that choice of being able to use it to better ourselves, to better humanity, to help somebody else. So whether we chose it beforehand or not, I don't know, but we can choose what we want to do with it once we've been through it.
Yes, yeah. I'm a student of Vedanta, as I mentioned, which is a Hindu philosophy of spirituality, science and spirituality based on knowledge. So, but it's very scientific in a way, systematic. But they say that the mind continues. So we don't lose in any of the knowledge, the information, the practices that whatever we have learned here in this lifetime, it kind of goes on. But they don't mention that we have learned, have chosen to specific experiences. Basically, they say that the energies will find something that it resonates with, that aligns with. So whatever impressions we have of this life, then will be passed to the next one. That kind of makes sense, through even the tendencies that we have, maybe even what you say, the way you say about choosing to respond in a certain way with kindness, with love and understanding. Even that seems like to be a tendency. That sounds like something that comes from something that has been learned, because not everyone behaves the same. We know, right, Charisse? Everybody's different. So do you resonate somehow? I'm just trying to kind of pick your brain in a way, in that sense. Does it resonate with you that the tendencies coming from past lives?
I do feel like we bring through energy from past lives, and we're taking in energy to take into the next life. I do believe that. And so I think there is a lot of it that can be drawn upon from maybe past unconscious experiences, that we have this hidden strength within us that allows us to deal with things in a different way, because perhaps in another life we've been there, done that, and learned from it.
Right. Yeah, it really feels that way. I have to say it's almost like a bodily type of thing. The body knows something that I'm not aware of. Like, how did I know how to do this or be this way? So that it's almost like a remembering again, like I'm remembering something, but I'm not sure where it came from. So yes, thank you for answering these questions. What about free will? How do you feel about that? Do we have free will, or are we under divine design and flow?
I feel like I have a choice in all moments of my life. I feel like there have been things that have happened that will continue, life goes on, but that I have a choice to how I want to respond to that. I don't believe that my destiny is already written in stone. No.
Yes, yeah. It's interesting. I still have a hard time believing that we have free will. It seems like life it's kind of doing what it does through all the bodies and minds and the natural world. It's kind of having this own dance, its own party, but it's not really. But it gives us this as a gift in a way, this sense that we are participating individually, that we are making, this contribution personally, that we are a person, because ultimately being a person, it is an illusion, isn't it? That we are not really personalities in people. We are universal energy. So maybe that's why for me, still, I have a hard time kind of believing or accepting, the person having its own free will to do what it does. I don't know.
I was just thinking that I feel like we belong to like an ocean of energy.
Mm-hmm.
That is who we are. I'm not different to you in that. We all are little drops of water in that energy, in that ocean. And that one drop perhaps is expressing itself through me, and another drop is expressing itself through you. And it's not that we're not separate. We're still all connected, but having different experiences. So perhaps more like a diamond, we are one, but we all experience a different facet of that diamond through our lives. I see it like that.
That's a beautiful metaphor too. I love the ocean, the water. It just made me think about it in this sense. I have, come across something that was very interesting about the ocean, and the fish carried by the water. So it's not that the fish in water, all the sea creatures, they don't really have free will in a sense. So they're just carried by the notion, by the movement of the water. So, but they all look different, don't they? They all seem to have different functions and do different things. Some of them are predators, some are not. And when I think about life, I think the same way, like we're all in this ocean of existence. So, with all that, it really makes me, it almost creates more of the evidence case for the, life itself. It's carrying us. We have no idea when we're going to die, what's going to happen next. I have no idea what's going to happen next. But I am in a state of surrender to that movement. Oh, take me wherever I'm supposed to be. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, that does. I feel like there is a bit of a path where you feel like you're going in a certain direction. You do feel drawn into that way, and like a pull, like you say, being carried into a direction.
Right.
Yeah.
I would love to know a bit more about, the idea of self-love. I know you talked about shame, self-love, and then also how to reclaim, which you already have been disclosing a lot of information on how to return to our true self. But when it comes to self-love, for me that was very much at the beginning, acceptance when it comes to trauma. And then self-love, yes, taking care of myself and just loving myself for what it it was. But then at some point it dissolved too, and then there's no self but just love. So I would love to hear from you this concept of self-love.
I really like what you just said about how the concept of self drops away and there is just love. That's all that
Yes.
remains. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Yes, I agree. Self-love, I guess when I'm talking about it, I'm referring to as a human, just the day-to-day living and dealing with things like trauma. So self-love for me means welcoming home all of those parts of ourselves that we might have dismissed or hidden away, suppressed, denied, all the bits we don't like, but actually welcoming them home with acceptance and respect and a whole ton of compassion. And I think it just not only brings a sense of healing inside yourself when you can sit non-judgmentally with all those parts that you previously struggled with.
Right.
But I feel like you bring your energy back. You, instead of using your energy to suppress something or deny something, hide it away, you then have the energy to put towards something more meaningful for yourself. You become stronger inside because you've got more energy. And I just think it makes you stronger on so many levels, really.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, Charisse, that's so true. A lot of people struggle with this idea of God and evil. How do you see this, this dance again? Is that two separate things, or they, again, it comes from the same source, they just have to be transmuted, understood, marinated in love? How do you see that?
I think that everything and everyone at their very core is all part of this ocean of energy, which feels like love and light. So I believe everybody is that. But we can experience things like a trauma that make us shut down parts of ourselves so that it's hidden. And then we engage in behaviors that are not particularly socially nice. Perhaps we become more aggressive or we fight with more people.
Right.
And worse. But underneath it all, I believe that we are all the same. And that moment of being able to experience that self-forgiveness, where I thought that even if that trauma had been my fault, that underneath it all, I was still this beautiful light and love.
Right.
Helped me realize that for other people too. So I really do think that there are people who've just come a really, really long way from who they are. It's that split has just been really, really great. But that I think there's the possibility to get back into who they really are.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for answering that question. That's a tough one for a lot of people, especially in case of people who seem not to have the, let's say, that choice. Like in the case of psychopath, they put, death row, even they pretty much put it away as a wasted case. Like there's nothing we can do to help them because they don't seem to understand. They don't seem to have the choice, and they even talk that way. So how do you explain that in a way? Is that something from past lives as well that they're bringing with them, and that this connection is so great that they're still working on it, on connecting, but in let's say, in a very painful way for everybody, right? Because they do bad things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert on this sort of area, but I think that They're just very disconnected from who they are, and maybe that's been lifetime after lifetime after lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there is always that hope that it'll get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, each maybe undoing
Yeah.
each future lifetime, maybe getting a bit better, maybe getting a bit better.
Right. What's your vision as a prevention? How can we stop this from happening? This legacy of trauma passing down from generations to generation.
I think the more people that can remember who they really are,
Yeah.
because it does change the way you show up in the world. I think the more people that can do that, the better and better it will get, maybe gradually over lifetimes. But I do think that the prevention is really about work on yourself, find it for yourself, and you'll come into your relationships much more consciously. And society dealing with issues, it's going to be much more in a conscious way than a reactive way.
Yes. I love that, Charisse. Yes, that really resonates true to me. So if you can change here, we might change out there too. But it starts here with us. Yeah. We cannot expect other people to change or the world to change. We have to change our inner world first. Yes, that resonates with everybody that I talk to here. It's all about inner transformation first, and then we make this place a better place. I want to talk about your service. Is there any questions I do have more questions for you, but I could go forever with these questions. So I want to talk about your services. So although you are in New Zealand, you do offer online sessions. So you meet people online from all over the world. So this is wonderful. Also, you offer trauma-informed Reiki healing sessions, as we have been discussing here. Reiki classes, which include angelic Reiki healing, Reiki training, and guided healing journeys. You also run healing intensive programs, so many of them. Talk to me about those. They last 3 months, right? Each one of them. Yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about your services in general.
Well, yeah, the Reiki healing and the Reiki classes is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Reiki healing, I love. I'm forever grateful for it because it helped me personally so much connect in with who I really am.
Yes.
So I love that. I'm very, very grateful. The healing intensives are just so much fun. And I say fun in a, if you really like to dive into who you really are, diving into the tough questions and exploring with curiosity and compassion about the way you are in the world and where you want to be. So I've got different programs. The first one is diving into who you really are and cultivating self-love. So all of the spiritual practices that I'll teach in that program are designed for that end, to help you connect in with who you are.
Right.
The programs are sort of partly video lessons, providing a little bit of that intellectual understanding, a bit of education, and some prompts to help you really ask those tricky questions.
Right.
And that's sort of self-paced. You do that at your own pace, at your own time, so there's no pressure. And then it's balanced with Reiki healing and coaching sessions, which just really offers a chance for you to come through with all your insights, share all the exciting things that you've discovered, ask any questions, and maybe work through some practices with me in person, and then receive Reiki healing so that you are just so supported with that beautiful energy of love while you are asking those tough questions and diving deep. So they're so much fun. The one after that looks at why you're here and living with purpose, which is a really, really curious one. And then after that, there is one about being able to express yourself authentically, having the confidence to do that when perhaps some of the people in your life are a bit rattled by your newfound sense of self.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I love the on your website, the giving back page too. You have, it's beautiful. The animal rescue people helping people with disability. There's a company that does that, and autism. I love the Lifeline too. I think that has to do with helping people who need assistance with whatever they are going through in life. So texting. I love the name too, Lifeline. That's such I know for some reason I just resonated with the name of that specific company. And the animal rescue too, because that has to do, everything's very close to my heart. I think that I put the love word here, close to the giving back page. And also the beautiful gift cards. I love the design too. The flower, it's a golden flower. Is that a mandala? Looks like a half mandala, is it?
It is. It is. And
Yes.
again, that for me, it really does capture, I feel like, my essence of being unfolding and light and bright and open, receptive.
Yes, it's beautiful. Your website is so beautiful. Everything, the design, it's just so, it resonates your energy. That's what it
Oh,
is. Yeah, it's so
thank you.
clear. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We do need this in this reality. I need your energy here. So thank you for being open to life itself. So before we say goodbye for this conversation, I have the question, the ending question about freedom. What is freedom to you as of this moment? How do you see this concept?
I think freedom for me is about self-expression, because so much of my
Yeah.
tangles and knots and feeling stifled was around that suffering through the misidentification of who I really was. So freedom for me is allowing who I really am to
Yeah.
express through me, unfolding in all moments, at all times. That feels like very freeing, to be very free.
Yes. Yeah. I love that too. And what comes to me is almost like the absence of fear. So you're not coming from fear. I don't know why I always connect love to freedom. And fear and love, I don't think they can coexist, right, in a way. So that makes sense. You're coming, from a place that's not fearless, but it has been integrated. It's almost like it has been marinated in love. So now it disappears, dissolves. I don't know. Is that how you see it too? I have this thought in my mind about freedom and love, and then fear as something that has been already transmuted and transformed.
Yeah, I think fear is when you don't remember who you
Mm,
are afraid. But when
yeah.
you do remember who you know how powerful and connected and loving you are. So there's that inner strength and that inner knowing that comes from that, which gives you a much more
Mm.
stable place to be in the world. You have a much more grounded response to life.
Yes. Yeah. I love your clarity too. Thank you so much for bringing this to this conversation and to this reality, the clarity of this knowledge, this profound divine love, divine knowledge, realization. Thank you so much again, Charisse.
Thank you.
So I wanna mention your website. I forgot about. So charissejoy.com. There will be clickable on the podcast notes. Is there anything that I missed about? Are you on social media too?
I am. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So yeah, it's there.
Yes, you're everywhere. Wonderful. So thank you so much again for your presence, and we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again. Bye for now, Charisse. Bye.
Thank you.